This is a thin place. This is where you meet with us. This is sacred space. This is where you meet with us. And this is a thin place. This is where you meet with us. This is sacred space.
But it is really interesting for me, being an outsider, coming to Colorado. When I look at your pottery, I think like that's Salida. That the colors, the shapes, it actually has a bit of the community's personality into it too.
Thank you. That's true. Try for that anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to hear that you did try for that. Like I feel like I'm standing in your backyard when I look at something like this. It's got all the colors of sitting here on the Arkansas River.
Right.
The rock, the water, the trees, the rocks. Like, it's really fascinating. How much thought did you put into that when you moved here and started creating?
I do choose these colors. I typically choose more what we call a matte glaze, duller, not in color, but in terms of, is it reflecting glossy, or is it more just absorbent of color? And again, that's more natural.
I think even shaking your hand, sometimes I feel like I'm holding a mug.
Yeah, because we're putting our fingers where your finger grooves have been. All of your pottery has these lines from your fingers, and it's like we're feeling the thickness of your fingers as we put our fingers up right where yours would be.
That's right.
Especially when it's cups and bowls that we're going to hold in our hands.
Whoa, that's got some meat to it.
Yeah.
So why is that?
This is a Jason pot. But it's got some dynamic qualities to it. And,
So why is that hard to throw?
you have a lot of weight that's going up, and there's gravity. And you're pressing in with the hand inside, parallel with the hand on the outside. It's putting the two together, which causes the clay to stretch
And we know
outwardly.
And we know now that this requires very stiff clay to make a pot this big.
Exactly.
And so there's a lot of touch
Oh yeah.
and feel in that.
Yeah. I know of blind potters.
So you're part chemist.
I am. Yes, it's true. Yeah.
Do you know pretty quickly if you get the chemistry wrong?
Oh yeah. I mean, not until it's fired and it's done.
It's like a whole nother layer of knowledge at each step.
Sure.
And I think the potter just sits at the wheel and throws the pots.
And that's it. That's all.
And it's really like this intricate thing at each step.
Yeah. So.
And then where did you go to learn pottery?
I went to a liberal arts college in Indiana. It was actually a Quaker college. And right away I was like, that looks interesting. So I took a pottery class first semester. And I was like, ooh, this is fun. So
you fell in love with pottery.
I did, and I was like, okay.
And you did quite a bit of education. You've got an advanced pottery degree, right?
I went to the Yale clay schools. No, I'm serious. If I mention it to another potter, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
So.
What's it called?
Alfred University.
In?
Upstate New York. It's world famous for clay.
So you learned from many different master potters, or was there kind of one that mostly
famous ones, actually. Yeah.
And so you learned this chemistry stuff, the geology stuff, the different kinds of recipes.
Yep. Yeah. And I taught at Red Rocks Community College and also at DU. in the 2 pottery programs.
Mm-hmm.
When you're working with the clay, do you ever feel like it's wrestling against you? Or, I mean, you're the potter, this is the clay,
Right.
but does the clay ever seem...
Sure. I mean, there are, what do I want to use as a reference on this? You know, there's firmness to soft. I'll use soft clay for plates because, you know, there's a fair amount of muscle going into it anyway. But for tall pots, I'll use stiffer clay.
And so it's harder to work with. It
A
wrestles
little
you
bit,
more.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's actually kind of the more intricate, beautiful thing you're trying to design
Right.
can give you more resistance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's
What
all
is it?
these things you're touching
Right.
that make it take on that color.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we're looking at this shelf here and there's stuff in different stages and Dave Blakeslee had to have his hands
Yeah.
at each stage for it to
Right.
eventually be the thing we look at and go, oh yeah, that's a Blakeslee mug.
Yeah, and I brought this out to show you. This is the unfired pot, but has been glazed. This is at almost exactly the same glazes. So, before firing, after firing.
It's not even recognizable.
No.
And so, but you know as the
Oh, I do.
potter,
Yeah.
looking at that, it's exactly like it needs to be to look like that.
Sure. Yeah. And thank God, when I was doing my traveling and speaking at churches and schools and everything, I never totally failed with a pot.